good example of how anthracite is found in this region. And it is found in these veins like this. And the reason why they categorize them into veins is because they are sandwiched in between two different rock layers. This rock layer right here, this is what is known as the bottom rock. This one right here is what is known as the top rock. And everything all in between here is all anthracite coal, and it does run vertically 400 feet all the way up to the surface, because right now we are 400 feet underground. And if you take a look here, you notice that we have a miner here. What our miner is demonstrating is one of the first processes of taking coal out of the mine. When you find these veins of coal, you drill straight into the vein, you usually drill around 6 holes. In these 6 holes, you pack them with dynamite, the dynamite explodes, and all the coal comes falling down through something known as a chute, which I will explain later. Follow me over here. Take a look right here, see this area, see this ladder? This is what is known as a manway, and this is where our miner over there would go to work every day. What he would do is he would climb all the way up top of there. That's where he would drill the holes, that's where he would set the charges. After he got done doing that, he would climb back down here, he would go to a safe distance, he would set the charges off, there'll be an explosion, and all the coal come falling down through the chutes. But those sections all the way up top of there, they're known as heading and monkey way sections, and that's where a majority of all the mining would take place. Follow me back there. Take a look right here, so you have a petrified tree. In 1962, when they reopened the mine, they found the other half of the tree laying in here, and what they did is they picked it up and they put it down in Washington, D.C., down in the Natural History Museum. So if you're ever down in Washington, D.C., you can see if you can find the other half of the tree down there. And if you also take a look right here, you can see that we do have a fossil. And if you look at all of these boards with the bolts in them, you can see them through this entire area. These are known as roof bolts, and the reason why they're in here is because of this, where I'm shining my light at, this crack right here. The rock that surrounds the coal is shale rock, and shale rock is sedimentary rock. And the way that it's formed through layers. And what happens is water and moisture gets in between those layers and causes it to crack or to flake. So we put these roof bolts in here so we don't have big giant chunks of shale rock falling on top of us. The area of the mine that we are standing in right now, this is what is known as a gangway. The main purpose of the gangway is where you load coal onto the carts, and I will explain more about that in more detail later. Follow me down this way, let's look at this gangway. Well, if anyone looked at their cell phones or wireless devices, you probably noticed you didn't get any service down here, and the reason why is obvious. Right now you are 400 feet underground and surrounded by rock. But if you want to communicate to someone outside of the mine, you're going to need something to do that. So, this right here was the main communication from inside to outside the mine. And I am told that this was the original phone used in this mine in 1911. And it does still work, and I will show it to you. All you would have to do is turn that, it generates electricity, and you can talk outside of the mine. Although it does still work, we do not use it anymore, and the reason why is because of this phone right here that works much better, and it works more as a radio than like a phone. Now right here, I have the miner's best friend, or the miner's mascot, the rat. And the reason why he is known to be the miner's best friend is because he has some good senses. With these senses, he can detect the vibrations and the gases that are found throughout the mine. So what the miners would do during their lunch break is they would feed a little bit of their lunch to the rats, so the rats would follow them throughout the mine. So if they were working in the mine, they didn't see the rats around, they knew there was a problem in the mine, and they knew to get out of there. And if you look around down here today, you're probably not going to find rats down here, and it's not because the place is going to collapse or there's gases or anything, it's because I'm not down here feeding them my lunch. I'll be over here. Take a look right here, so you have a cage. In this cage there is a small bird. This bird is the canary. And the canary had the same job as the rat did. But this was something that the miners or the mining companies had to provide. But when the miners or the foremen would first walk into the mine, they would take these cages with them. And if they noticed that the bird was making any type of commotion, you knew you were in some type of gas. One of the major gases you have to look out for down here is methane gas. Today we no longer use the canary. Today we have battery-powered gas detectors. And they also have something known as a safety lantern or a Davy's lantern, but you really don't see them being used too often anymore. If you look here, this is just a map of where we came in. You can see all the veins that we passed through, and you can see the mammoth vein. And if you look up here, you notice that there is some coal exposed to the surface. The coal exposed to the surface is known as outcrop, and that's how it was discovered in this area from the surface, from the outcrop. If you take a look here, see these two diagrams? This is of a chute. The man right there, that is our miner in the other gangway, and what he's doing is he's drilling into the vein of coal. Once he's done doing that, he'll fill the holes with dynamite, crawl out of the manway, get to a safe distance, he'll set the charges off, there'll be an explosion, and all the coal come falling down through the chutes. It'll be held together by something known as a battery. The battery will help support the coal, but it would also allow for some of it to flow through, which will allow for it to flow through the chutes that would go to the carts that would then be taken to the surface to be processed. So, when you're setting up a gangway, what you want to do is you want to try to set it underneath the vein the best that you can, and you want to keep working your way up, because you want gravity to take the majority of the coal all out here. Follow me over here. Now right here we have the heart and soul of the mine, the mule. Before they had battery-powered motors like the one that we came in on, these mules were responsible for moving coal throughout the mine. And in some of the larger mines, the mules would rarely go out to the surface. And there was two reasons why. One was, since he was down here all day working in the dark, if you took him outside, it was very possible for the sunlight to do some harm to his eyes. And the second reason why, really the main reason why they kept them underground, is if you took them outside, sometimes they didn't want to go back into the mine. So they figured it was just much better just to keep them underground. Although they did spend a majority of their life underground, they were treated very well, and the reason why was because they were very expensive. They were so expensive that if there was ever a problem in the mine, the miners were told to get the mules out first before they can get themselves out. The reason why was because the mules cost more than the labor did back then. But all of that changed around 1903. Today you will not find any animals in the mine. They have all been replaced by battery-powered machinery. Follow me down here. Alright, we're clearing out a new section of the mine today, so this afternoon I came down here, I went back there, I drilled some holes and I set some charges. But I'm going to need some help. I'm going to need somebody to set the charges off. Who would like to do that? You want to do it?
No. What? Huh? What?
Anybody want to do it? I need a volunteer.
Do what?
Set the charges off.
Pull that thing up.
You want to do it? Come on over here. All you have to do is lift that all the way up. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Alright, now this is very important. Before you press it down, you have to yell fire in the hole just in case someone's back there to give them a warning, alright? Go ahead.
Fire!
Push it down. Stuck?
Yeah.
There you go, now press it. Good job. Now you have to go clean it up. I'm joking. Did anyone notice how many shots there were?
30.
There were 6. If those were real shots, you really wanted to listen. And it was pretty much common sense why you wanted to do that. You put 6 back there and you only heard 4 or 5, you're drawing straws and who's going to go back and check the fuses? That was common during the 1800s, got a little better during the 1900s. Today, not too much of a problem. Follow me back here.
Go on, dude. Okay.
And right here we have our second exit. This is also our emergency exit. If there was ever a problem in the mine, this is what the miners would use to get out. This does lead 400 feet all the way up to the surface. This also works as an airway as well too. It presses a lot of the dirty air out, brings a lot of the clean air in. Probably notice it's got a little cooler in this section of the mine, and the reason why is because that's the clean air coming down through here and passing around this area. Move down here a little more. Earlier on the diagram I showed you what a chute was. Well, this is what a chute is up close. If we were mining in here, the miner would be all the way up top up there, and all the coal would be coming down in here and held into place here. This one is empty. I'll show you a photo of them loading coal onto a cart just a bit down the way here. Follow me down here. What I just showed you looking up through a chute, this will look like looking down. If we were mining in here, the miner would be all the way up top up here, and all the coal would be going down through that chute to another gangway below us. There are two other gangways below us, but they're in operation during the 1850s and also a part of a different mine. But what I showed you looking up through a chute, this will look like looking down. Follow me back here. Now right here we have a 4-ton cart, and this is the average cart you would find in this mine. If this cart was empty, we would have rails underneath our feet, and we would roll it underneath the chute. And if you take a look behind our miner sitting here, you can see that we do have a chute. And you can see all the coal flowing out of the chute into the cart. And if you look behind the cart, you notice there's a man standing behind there. That man is helping to control the flow of coal, and how he is doing that is that he has a small door that he's lifting, allowing the coal to flow through. And if you look right here, see the man sitting here? Look like he is on a break, but he is not. He has a job. If you notice, he has his feet up on the cart. The reason why he has his feet up on the cart is because he is measuring the amount of coal. The reason why you need to use your feet is when you are mining down here. It is like this down here. And this is the only light that you have on in the mine. And this is very similar to what it looked like during the 18 and 1900s. The carbide lamps that they used did give off the same amount of light, and you just wouldn't have had the beam of light that I had. But the only place in the mine that had any lighting in it was the stables and the foreman's office. None of this lighting would be in here. And that's even true today. And one of the reasons why is because of the gases that are released when you are mining. But once he felt that it was full at his feet, what he would do is he would then hook the cart up to the mule, and he'd move it down this gangway to where we just were. And in this very mine, the mules would take the carts all the way outside, and what they would do is put some covering around their eyes to protect their eyes from the sunlight. But the mines that the mules stayed inside. How they would get the carts outside is they would unhook the carts from the mules and use gravity to take the carts out. Once the carts would reach the end of the tunnel, you have to find a way to stop them. And there's some young boys at the end of the tunnel that are known as runners. And the runners would have one of these. And this is known as a sprag. The young boys would run alongside of the carts and jam these into the wheels to stop them. This was the most dangerous job in the mine, but we don't do anything like that anymore. Far much better practices, and we have the battery-powered motor that eliminates the entire process altogether. Does anyone have any questions?
No.
All right, you can take your seats. We'll head back up to the surface.